Hey folks, it's Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of the Rush Hour podcast. We have massive updates regarding the Epstein files story as the Democrats seemingly have done something right. They snuck in a vote to subpoena for all of the Epstein files records. It's hilarious. The more you look into what they were able to do yesterday, we're going to dive into that. And first, Ghislaine Maxwell, as being reported, may make a mafia-like deal with Trump amid the fallout over Epstein. Now, we've already covered this angle of the story, but we have Donald Trump's deputy attorney general, who was Donald Trump's former personal lawyer. So absolute conflicts of interest with the Department of Justice, right? The executive branch and the Department of Justice should be independent of each other. How do you get justice if you're just doing the bidding of the president? But that's already a situation we find ourselves in. So now he's going to be talking to Ghislaine Maxwell, and the executive department, Trump, can dangle a pardon or he can reduce her sentence. Really, they can do anything they want to get Ghislaine Maxwell out of prison. But why would they want her out of prison? I mean, she's the only living person that we know of that was part of this terrible ring, right? Of sex trafficking, pedophilia, and all these other things, right? Epstein's dead, as far as we know. And Ghislaine is in jail on a 20-year prison sentence. Now we're being gaslighted by the administration to think that maybe she's a little bit of a victim in all of this. Now, obviously, she's not, but that's the angle that they're trying to kind of share with us, that, well, maybe Ghislaine was just a victim. Maybe we could let her out of prison. But the only way she's let out of prison is if she discloses information. If that information doesn't involve Donald Trump being a part of the Epstein files, which we already know is, he's in the files, then what that means is Trump cut a sweetheart deal with her. Here we have, I guess, the Greg Kelly show, whoever the heck that is, on Newsmax, positioning Epstein's sex trafficking accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, as a victim. So you're just watching this PR play out in real time.
Let's find out, what is this all about? And she's also been subpoenaed by the Oversight Committee. I think this is great. I do have a feeling that she just might be a victim. She just might be. There was a rush to judgment. There was a lot of chaos there for a while. All right, granted, she hung out with Jeffrey Epstein. And I know that's apparently not good, but she's in jail for how long now? 20 years, a 20-year sentence.
So you can just see the framework they're getting to. She's the victim. No, she was literally finding the victims and giving them to Epstein. She was not just an accomplice. She was the one getting phone numbers of high school girls. And I mean, this is absolutely just ridiculous. Now, I wanted to share with you guys the bombshell maneuver from last night, how Democrats pulled an upset on the Epstein files. Now, as we know, Mike Johnson wants to take a recess, so we don't vote. They have a bipartisan support. Democrats and Republicans coming together want to release these files, but it's the leadership that is doing everything they can to stop from even voting on it. House Democrats outsmarted Republicans by sneaking a motion into an unrelated hearing to subpoena all Epstein files. Republicans tried stalling, sabotaging, then lied, and it failed until they lied and said it failed until a roll call proved it passed 8-2. With 3 Republican defectors. So this is absolutely hilarious, the amount of maneuvering that needs to happen in order to sneak a vote in for democracy to play itself out. Anybody who's blocking the release of these files should never hold a political office again.
Breaking news out of Congress. A spokesperson for the House Oversight Committee just told NBC News that it will subpoena the Justice Department for the full Epstein files. The announcement comes after Democrats on an oversight subcommittee successfully advanced the subpoena, with 3 Republicans joining, after subpoenas were also added for a string of former officials, including, get ready for this, the Clintons, Robert Mueller, and other targets of Trump's long-running, completely debunked conspiracies.
Yeah, subpoena them all. Get the truth out there. Let everyone see it. And again, all of this effort had to go because Mike Johnson is running cover for Donald Trump. And what they're doing is they're trying to stall till the fall. They're hoping that the football season starts and people have other things to talk about. This story will exist for a very, very long time. So yeah, here is the actual hearing. It's really not worth sharing. They're just voting. It's, very boring. But what I found interesting was this last moment here where you can see the chairman who's in charge. He basically accidentally lets this vote go through, and look at his face. Here it is. The audio's terrible. He accidentally lets the vote go through.
Mr. Chairman, on this vote, the ayes are 8, the nays are 2.
Cut to a close-up of him. Whoops, what did I let happen? there he is, right? Oh, boy. He's going, Donnie Trump's going to be calling me. My only job was to send this thing to recess, and I accidentally let a vote slip in. Oh, what a wild time to be alive. What a wild, wild time to be alive. So along with that, we have the diversion of the news cycle, that being Trump and this wild reintroduction of all of the classics, right? Hillary Clinton, Obama, the emails, eating cats and dogs, Rosie O'Donnell, literally anything he can say to avoid the Epstein files, they're trying to say. So now they're talking about Hillary Clinton on tranquilizers. Excuse me, what does this have to do with the Epstein files?
They also had documents that showed the patronage of the State Department to State Department employees who would go and support Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers.
And by the way, yes, this sounds juicy, but when our current president is the one who can't take criticism from anybody, if you criticize him at all, you're a Republican in name only, there's a hoax, you're this, you're that. I mean, there is no moral ground for them to be discussing Hillary Clinton getting a little moody.
Then CIA Director Brennan and the intelligence community mischaracterized intelligence and relied on dubious substandard sources to create a contrived false narrative that Putin developed a quote-unquote clear preference for Trump. Brennan and the IC misled lawmakers by referencing the debunked Steele dossier to assess quote-unquote Russia's plans and intentions, falsely suggesting that this dossier had intelligence value when he knew that it was discredited.
Now, when you just hear what Tulsi Gabbard has to say, you go, oh, it sounds pretty damning, doesn't it? I mean, it sounds damning. It is being laughed at by literally everybody. They're saying the Obama administration, they're not sweating over this. There's nothing there. So all Tulsi can do is make these claims. Does the Justice Department decide to pursue them? Yet to be seen. So here we have Sam Seder discussing the fact that Newsmax is critical of Tulsi. No one's believing anything they're saying. It's like we just see it for what it is. There's a man behind the curtain pretending to be the Wizard of Oz.
When Newsmax is skeptical about your conspiracy theory, you know you have a problem.
We will be releasing further documents tomorrow that will refute that statement. And I would go back and point to, and we will be pulling a whole host of statements that were made by the Obama administration, by Hillary Clinton, by senior Democrat officials, by their friends in the media that state over and over again after this January 2017 manufactured intelligence document was created that repeat the narrative. And I'm looking at my notes here. New York Times says Russian hackers acted to aid Trump in the election. Obama's CIA Director John Brennan says there is strong consensus among us to support the CIA claim Russian hackers aided Donald Trump's election. Hillary Clinton said, I would be president if not for the Russian hackers supporting Donald Trump.
Hillary Clinton saying shit 2 years after the election.
Don't put that on me.
Brennan, who's out of office, saying this shit 2 years later. She's lying in this interview. If that's what it takes to shut her down on Newsmax, this is like they have lost the step. Honestly, they have completely lost the step.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I don't know anybody who's falling for this Obama story. they've accused the former president of treason. This is absolutely wild. All while our own president, who's in office right now, sent innocent people to a concentration camp in another country. Call it what it is. The folks that are coming out of this camp we're hearing of abuse. They were tortured. They were meant to beg on their knees for food like dogs. Here's a Venezuelan man that says he was constantly beaten inside the El Salvadorian jail. Now, it might sound like this is all over the place. You have Epstein, you've got Hillary Clinton, you've got her tranquilizer meds, you've got gulags in other countries where we're sending people. But the chaos is what they feed off of. And after 6 months of this chaos, being beaten down with news stories, flooding the zone, folks are finally kind of like having a dopamine level off and going, wait a second, this is all a little fucked, isn't it? Land of the free my ass. Here
A
he is.
homecoming from hell. This is how Arturo Suarez describes the past 4 months. Imprisoned at the behest of Donald Trump, now released into the arms of his family.
Arturo, it's really great to see you out of prison.
Just days after being exchanged in a prisoner swap with Americans detained in Venezuela, Arturo is telling me his story. How he ended up shaven and shackled in one of the world's worst prisons, despite never having a criminal record.
Al entrar la administración de Trump,
I had a feeling when the Trump administration came in, there would be deportations, but I never thought I would be caught up in all of this.
Arturo is an aspiring singer. He'd moved to the US to escape Venezuela's authoritarian regime, but he was swept up in Trump's deportation policy. Accused with little evidence of being a gang member, he was arrested by masked and armed immigration agents. Then flown to El Salvador, a country he'd never even visited.
And by the way, all of this footage was meant just for deterrence for future immigrants. This was meant to make some Hollywood-style trailer, right? They shot scenes. They had a drone camera. But they used real humans, sons of people, fathers, husbands. They used these dads to make a point, these innocent lives. And quite honestly, I'm sickened that 100% of Americans aren't denouncing this. Even though it's like 70% of people, 80% of people are, I am so sickened at people in my own family, at people that I know online or friends that do immigration counters. Oh, we've deported this many people, deportation tickers and stuff. When this stuff is happening, it's absolutely sickening. And now we find out that they were beaten, tortured, starved, all these different things. There'll be more stories like this to share. It's not over. It's still happening. There are folks, minors, there are innocent people, and there are American citizens right now that are in detention centers that are overcrowded, that are, that they're not getting the help they need, the legal advice. They're not getting the communications with their family. It's happening right now, and it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse as ICE has received a bigger budget than the FBI and many countries' own militias or their militaries. So we're going to have to be on top of our game as whistleblowers and continue to expose all of this in order to really save lives. And I'm not saying that for hyperbole. We're saving people's lives collectively, those that are calling this out. Because if it wasn't called out, they would still be in that torture chamber and ripped from their families. That's not due process. That's not an American way. All right, that's it for me. We'll be back in the morning. We're here twice a day, every day, pop culture and politics. We'll see you then. I'm Dave, and this is The Rush.